Welcome to another interesting episode of Purpose of Life. Among the various programs we create, this program is very special, and I've told this many times. Why is it special is because it has purpose and life. There are many people living life. The question which we need to ask is, are they enjoying life? You can only enjoy when you have the purpose. Joining me in the studios is Chaco. Chaco comes from long years of corporate experience. He has built several entrepreneurs. He also has another hat. Let's find out what that hat is, and let's welcome Chaco. Chaco, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Ashwin.
Chaco, whenever I see you, you have your own calling and you carry yourself so well. You come from a corporate background. But before we get into the other hat of it, I'm keeping that as a suspense.
Okay.
My first question is, when you hear this word purpose of life, purpose and life, what comes to your mind?
For me personally, each one of us are created with a purpose. That's what comes into my mind. Because we are created in His own image, God says. And God is a creator. If God is a creator, then I am also to be creative and to create.
Because you are in the image of.
These are my thoughts.
Your thoughts.
Yeah, my thoughts. So, with that in mind, I started searching at a very young age. When I became a believer, I used to ask, what is the purpose of me living in this world? So I remember very vividly that I used to be an athlete in school. I became I played for Tamil Nadu as a state Kho player. I went to RD parade way back in 90 with Tamil Nadu contingent. So there are so many things that I had actually done, but I still didn't have that joy of a purpose. What is my purpose?
When did you find there was a vacuum? So you were doing,
Achievements.
Achievements. So that should have given you some satisfaction.
It did not. For me personally.
Why
the reason is I was still searching that there's something more.
Okay.
As I evolved, then I had to figure out what is that God wants me to do in life. So we call basically, the call of your life, right? I think you like the word call.
Call.
Right? So I was searching for the purpose and call. How do you marry this together? And that is when I figured out there is something that I want to do, which is basically into helping others to find their call.
Oh, helping others.
And
usually it's going to be, I need to grow, I need to build, but yours is helping others.
Helping others. That is my call. So I figured out my call. So how did that happen? After my marriage it happened.
Oh.
So I have to share that with you.
Yeah. So kind of a very interesting point you make. You were technically doing well, but still you were saying there was something missing. And then you said, I had to find my purpose. And then you were saying, I found my purpose after my marriage, and then my purpose was defined to help others. Am I right?
Wow.
It's a sequence, right?
You beautifully said it.
Now let me decode it a little bit. How does this work out? Let's explain a little bit more deeply.
You wanted to find out what is my other hat.
Yeah, I'm coming to that hat, but before I come to that.
So that hat is what I was searching for, and I fell into the call of my life.
Okay.
Just to let you know in the lighter note that spiritual side is one side, but I was not prepared for a marriage. So I thought marriage is just, find a girl, just get married and keep doing whatever you want. And then when I got married, I was finding it very difficult to manage my corporate life and my marriage. Something wrong with my spiritual side. Something wrong with
balancing
the whole thing. So selfishly, I was looking for a Bible college trained girl.
Oh.
The reason being because if God calls me to full-time ministry, I need to jump out, and I don't want to get married to somebody who doesn't understand this call of life.
Which has been a very fair thinking.
Just fair thinking. for my side.
Yes, from your
But
side.
what has my wife said?
Ah.
She was looking for somebody who would say, okay, a full-time minister, or because she is from a Bible college background. So I was selfish in finding somebody for me, but there it was probably a need to get married to somebody who is. So, this is the hat that I was talking about. You are trying to find out what the hat is.
The one part is the corporate side.
Correct.
The second hat is the part of the purpose of the marriage part of it, where
Correct.
God has positioned you in such a way that you can help others in marriage.
That-
Am I right? That's the.
Yeah.
I want to put it straight to the. I don't want the audience to guess.
Yes.
So it's two different worlds, Chaco.
Correct.
The corporate world is a very bullish world. I mean, sorry to say, it's a lovely world. I have friends in the corporate world,
correct.
nice people, but it's a very
So my challenge was I was in sales and marketing.
Sales and marketing.
Sales and marketing, and was heading brands like NIT, Aptech, SSI,
Excellent brands, Amma.
CAD Center, and I worked with Kavin Care. So these are high pressured, high
Performance.
performance oriented. When I was doing this, one of the things that I'm so tired. 165 days I travel in a year.
Correct.
When I come back, I would like to sleep.
Naturally, you're tired. Yeah, correct.
But my wife says 5 o'clock, early morning, rise up and pray. So I said, please, I want to sleep. I will pray. Now she says, okay, initially it was okay. She said, okay, you sleep, but get up and pray. But by the time when I get up 7 o'clock, my phone is already ringing in the corporate world. My customers are calling, my boys are calling. So I keep talking on the phone, and then I get ready, quick, shower,
Correct.
get out. So my prayer would probably be like, reading the calendar verses and just getting out and just. So
Absolutely
that's
no
something
time.
which she was not very happy with. So there was conflict in marriage.
So this is what you call a typical conflict.
It's a conflict in marriage. For her, that is a conflict. How can a believer whom I married, I don't see him as a believer at home. So for me was climbing the corporate ladder was one of the major things.
And providing for the family.
And providing for the family.
Correct. Goes without.
So for me, but I'm also very actively involved in the church on a Saturday and a Sunday. But for her, where is your life? Was a big question.
She's seeing it you more closely.
Closely, exactly. So this became a conflict, and we were almost willing to say part.
It went to that stage.
Yeah, because I can't handle this. Because for me, this is new. Because before marriage, I was a bachelor living in a different,
It's a different
city.
city, yeah.
And my parents were not there with me. I was in Visakhapatnam for my first job. And
you decide everything on your own.
On my own, I get up whenever, I pray,
Correct.
I go to church, I do activities. But then somebody here says that this is the way you have to pray.
This is the timing.
This is the timing. Because I come, for her, she comes from a family where all of them, in her family, everybody is a preacher and a teacher types. So for them, it is mandatory because the father was a missionary, first missionary to Nilgiris. And even though it's cold, they have to put up. So it's all, for me, it is like, I mean, it's unfair
Correct.
kind of a thing. But what she said is that you do this and then you go and do whatever you want. For me, I need to study my Bible. So if I do it, I will do it with heart.
Correct.
But this conflict we are not able to manage.
Okay.
And that's when I decided that this is not going to work out, let's part.
You had a talk with her?
We had a talk, and I in fact dialed and called her brother, who was my close friend, and wanted to ask him to take her back.
Oh my. Went to that stage.
But that's when she pleaded and said, don't do this. Don't do this. At that time, there was no counselors. It was 27 years ago.
And you couldn't go and talk to somebody.
I couldn't talk to somebody because it will become a talking point.
It's also an embarrassment.
It's an embarrassment. And if I go to my pastor, now listen to me carefully. If I go to my pastor, my wife will say, you have support.
But the pastor is supposed to look at both sides, no?
But generally, you feel, probably my wife would have felt like, He has a support from his pastor and
Okay.
his family because they are very close to him.
Okay, got it.
So there was no third party where we could go.
Elders in the family, elders in
and
the family.
elders, I didn't want to go to my elders because
a little
this is
embarrassment.
very a trivial matter
matter,
actually.
correct.
If you really look at it, it's a
It's
very
a very
trivial
small matter.
Small
There's no
matter.
character
There's no
issue.
character issues. There's no, I'm not stealing, I'm not smoking and drinking or doing anything.
It's a very, very, very
Very
trivial.
simple. The way she's brought up,
Correct.
the way I am brought up, my house also the same principle applied.
Context applies.
The
But
same
the way-
context applies. But what happened? I mean, this is something which very interesting. Now, once the guy, I mean, you've crossed your teenage, there's some freedom that is given to you to decide.
Correct.
Now here, and I was away from home, and I've lived 4 years in that manner.
Correct.
Now I got into a relationship. I say this is how you do things, which is fairly. Now I will tell. She's right.
Her expectations are right.
Our expectations are right. But at that time,
You didn't.
my ego was very big time. I said, who are you to tell me what I'm supposed to do?
And that too, you were doing well in your career. The whole world around you calling.
So this I didn't understand. So I started searching. And that's where my second hat came. If I and my wife were believers, were calling on the same God, having so many problems in a marriage, who is there to help people who are struggling?
A very important point you brought out, Chaco. You said at that point you couldn't talk to somebody. It's something which is very practical today. You know, today we have a phone, we have social media.
True.
But do we have somebody where you can talk with? You know, and there's a lot of questions coming as you share your story and as you share unfold the context of how important marriage is.
True.
It's going to be very, very critical that we decode the whole thing and help our viewers to understand the context of marriage, because God has given you that important role to play. But my question is this: there's no one to talk to, and yet there is someone ready to listen. I just want to leave that thought.
Okay.
We have someone there with us to listen, but yet there's a feeling there's no one we can talk to. Why did you say that you didn't have anyone to share your problem with? That's my first thing. And secondly, the concept of a very successful career was one side. How did you address the issue of this word marriage, and what made you take up this marriage so seriously to go to a point where you said, if I could solve this problem, there are many others who would need counseling, and let me take it up. So those are my questions, Chaco. So how would you address the first point of it? Everyone is around you, but still you don't find that one-to-one connect to share.
It's a beautiful question that you asked me. The first thing is, how will I be looked at if I share this with somebody? So there's no confidant that I have. So it's important to have at least one friend in our life whom you could go and share everything that happens. But when you're married and you're in a concept of when you're in a church context and you are in a position of leadership already,
So the picture image is there.
the image is everything is hunky-dory. Mostly marriage problem, you will not really know that people have problem.
They
They
don't
all
show
put
it.
up a good facade and walk into the church. We have a nice, and my wife always will tell in our marriage seminars, my husband is the one who lifts the hands and praises God in front and jumps around, but I know who he is at home. This is something which really touched me. How am I behaving at home? So I didn't have anybody to go and talk. The question back to the question that you're asking is, how will I be looked at? It's a very trivial problem, but she is right in what she's saying, because we are a believing community, or we got married because we both are believers and we have the same faith and we have same God worship. If that is the case, there are certain written rules in the Bible saying that this is where you have to pray, this is how you have to conduct. So, I mean, she is right in what she's saying, that 6 o'clock morning or 5 o'clock morning prayer is important. But the way I argue with her is, You do this and then you have no sleep. I am working and I come back tired, and then you still ask me to pray. We pray. We have family prayer. One good thing that we have done is that we don't stop our family prayer in spite of all difficulties. So we will do that because our children are there. They need to see what we do. But heart of heart, the connect between me and God happens when I am alone or pray alone. In our case, expectations, like the way you said, she had an expectation. Husband means who is an authority at home, a leader who leads. That's what she's been expecting from me. And we never had anybody to talk to, as I rightly told. So, nobody taught us what, I have never gone to a premarital course.
I was coming to that point. How
Right.
important is this pre-marital discussion is so critical.
Yes. So, just to let you know, I can never forget my mentor, the first mentor that I had, Pastor Tom. He could not be there for giving a premarital, which he is very good at. But what he did was, he sent me a beautiful letter, because he was in Malaysia at that time and he couldn't come for my wedding. He said, take this to Molly, both of you read it together and it will help. Actually, that letter really helped. I feel we could have probably discussed during that time our expectations. So we didn't discuss. But today, in today's context, the kids who are coming now into marriage are very clear about what they want from each other. In those days, the concept is, you just, as you rightly said, you see somebody, your parents tell somebody
Correct.
to get married and say, okay, the looks are good, she's coming from a good background, educated, okay, fine, I like her, okay. But today's children totally are different.
The expectations are.
Expectations are discussed, agreed upon, who will do the chores in the house. I can tell this from my own experience of my own daughter getting married recently, and I see him do all the chores, and when we call her and say, what, that's his job, Daddy. We have agreed to live like this.
They're so clear.
They are very clear. And that was surprising for me, because in those days, men are not supposed to work in the house. So these are conceptual problems that we had. But today it is, so going back to this concept of what you asked me this, you didn't have anybody to go. That's exactly what I felt. If I go to my church, will I be looked at very, down? And
Or will that be a gossiping?
will that be a gossiping? Or this could also become a kind of a thing for the next message. So I thought,
meet for the next message.
Meet for the next message. So I didn't want to go and talk, and I felt there was nobody to listen.
So how did you actually solve this problem?
Well, thank you very much. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. So one day, as I told you, that I was about to call my brother-in-law and say, take your back. I mean, I want to do this, and I
went to that desperation.
I put the phone down, and we both sat down, and she said, let's talk. So I said, let's go to the beach. Visakhapatnam is a beautiful city with beach. So we both went to the beach. We sat down for almost 3 hours. We spoke about whatever we had in our hearts to each other. That's the first time that we were talking. And when we spoke most of the things, we didn't need anybody to be there. She understood what I was trying to say. But I want to tell you this, mostly the concept is that fear of what your spouse will think actually stops us from speaking when you, to your spouse. Something which I really like is communication. Right, so we probably you might pick me up from what the challenges that people are going
I'm
through.
even
probably.
going one step further, Chacko, because in the beginning you mentioned about a creative God. The God we worship is a God who not only is creative, he's also a communicator. God.
Absolutely.
It's not just one-way communication; it's two-way communication.
Absolutely.
And that's how marriage is, you know.
Exactly.
So carry on. So after marriage, that was the first time you were able to open up.
Open up
and
and
she
talk.
opened
But
up.
we had our own expectations. So initially, the honeymoon period is excellent because we are trying to discover each other. We are trying to explore each other. We are trying to find the likes and dislikes, and the life was very good. For example, I grew up in a family of 3 boys, including my father 4. So 4 men and 1 lady at home. And my mom would do anything for me. For example, I put my trousers here, I took my lungi there and go. She would just pick up and go. But wife wouldn't do this. I'm sure you will agree with me, because she'll say, put it in the right place. So I said,
and she's right.
And she's right. So who are you to tell me what I am supposed to do? This is my house.
Correct.
Because my mother had done all this for me, because mother's heart is different.
And especially food, when it comes to food, it's another.
Thing. So if you really look at, these are challenges of the initial stages of marriage, and there's no guide or nobody to talk about these things. And that's when I thought, I need to figure out how to solve this problem. So we were able to talk to each other. And then I started thinking, if I am going through, I was a Sunday school, very good Sunday school student. I was in the Sunday school as a teacher. Then I moved into the youth ministry. So doing all these things, still I have a problem.
So what you're saying is that does not guarantee there'll not be any problem.
Absolutely. So I got into marriage saying that everything will be
Bed of roses.
bed of roses. So there I discovered that we both come from a different home, backgrounds, expectations are different. So I couldn't manage, because I leave 165 days I travel in a year. So most of the time I don't see her. But when we come back, I give full attention to her. That's how I balance my corporate life. But I was searching, I want to fix this. Then we improved our communication. We were able to resolve this, but I didn't know where to go and get trained. So the second part of my life, where is the purpose? So the deep within me, as a young spiritual person in the church, if I'm having a problem, I'm not able to go and talk to people. So I wanted to be that person where people could come to me and share their problems. So that's when I realized there is something called Christian counseling. Way back, so I was searching for Christian counseling. In those days, counseling was a very not a good term. Nobody would go to a counselor to talk. But today it's a very fashionable word.
It's a common thing.
And it's like anyone going to a doctor, people just go and see a counselor. So you asked me a question, how important is premarital counseling? Is very important. Before they get inside, they should have a clear clarity of many things. So when people come to me, I don't just do a plain teaching. Rather, I look at what exactly they have done all these years and how are they going to look at. So
this matters.
All these matters, and I bring them to something called purpose of their marriage. You're talking about
purpose of life.
So I'm saying, so my wife will always ask me, you did not find anybody in Chennai, you came all the way to Nilgiris to find me. Did you not find anybody here? That's what started making me think. And did she not find anybody in the Bible college? Or did she not find somebody in the church or somewhere?
That's the uniqueness of God.
That is what the covenant relationship of marriage. So marriage is not just accidental. It's God ordained. But today, the way situation changes, saying that it's all I, me, my, and then that's where the concept of divorce
comes in.
Coming up.
Coming back to your story, Chacko. So if I have to rewind back and ask you this and say, Chacko, from your own marriage, you resolved your issue, fine. What were the key lessons in your own, what is called conflict resolution? What are the key takeaways? Because of this, we were able to resolve. What was those key points?
Well, first thing is communication.
So the communication, it's a big area, right?
It's a big area. But generally what we are taught in corporate, a sender, a receiver, a medium, and then, the clutter around
That's
it.
very theory-ish.
It's a very theoretical. But I want to tell you today, even for the viewers, there are 4 major components which I really love. Very passionately I teach this.
In communication.
In communication. And that's what has changed my life. The first one is feelings.
Feelings.
Expressing your feeling to your spouse. The second thing is desire.
Desire.
Sharing your desire.
What is the difference between feeling and desire, Chaco?
Feeling is, I have a severe headache.
Okay. It's a feeling, yeah.
I want to eat a burger. Is a desire.
Feeling
right?
and desire.
Feelings, thoughts, desire, experiences. These are
Okay.
the 4 major components a couple should understand. Now, I was just mentioning to you earlier how we can combine all these 4 and talk to your spouse. For example, you come back from work just so exhausted, but your wife wants to talk to you because she's at home.
And you whole day have been talking in the office.
Talking in the office, you're exhausted and tired. Now, how do you handle this situation? So, give that space, allow him to relax, then come back. But the best part of a marriage could be he sharing his experience of the day, which many men don't do. They think it's not good to share everything to your
Could be boring to the wife. Again, this is again an assumption.
So what I really realized is how I resolved this when I learned about these 4 components. I mixed these 4 components to share with her everything that I want to share. And she is actually not a very, open personality. She's very composed personality. But today she also starts sharing so easily because she understands feelings, thoughts, desires and experiences. So we every day share these things, and that's how we were able to resolve what is there in my mind, I'm able to share with her. And so we don't have much conflicts that we could have.
Thanks, Chaco. I think the takeaway has been huge in this episode, and would like to do more with you. In the next episode, I think what I would like to do is just to give a heads up to the viewers also is questions like from the era of where we came from, our parents were the ones who chose our marriage partners, and things have changed a lot. Today we live in a very different world. As you rightly said, your daughter, she was very particular what she wants, and children today express very clearly.
Absolutely.
So there's always a change happened, but of course marriage covenant still remains.
Yeah.
But still, how do we cope up with this change, and what are as a counselor, as a marriage counselor, playing that part where you are helping so many marriages not fall apart, what are the fundamental issues which really come in front of you and say where you can say, these are the fundamental things, watch out, so that we don't miss those points. So a lot of questions on that area, Chaco, and I would really want you to break it down to a level where, say, how do we have a strengthened, stronger marriage? So that will be the next part of the program, and I'm really happy that you were able to share, and also what I learned in this today's thing for me as a takeaway is we can't take communication lightly.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we take it for granted.
True.
We just take it for granted. So what the big takeaway for me is, even in that communication, clarity is there, emotion is there, feeling is there. There's a lot of components to that communication. So take it seriously, take it joyfully and experience God's fullness. So thanks, Chaco, for being with us. In the next episode, we'll talk more on this hat of marriage, and deeply appreciate the time you gave us.
Thank you.
Friends, you're watching Purpose of Life. There's a number there on the screen. If you have a question, please do call that number. And in the next episode, we'll dive deep into this topic called marriage, and you're watching Purpose of Life.